I heard that you guys had approached Van Halen engineer Don Landy to be the original engineer of Toto IV.
That was a call that we made thinking, because we listened to all kinds of records and everything like that, and we liked Don Landy's work with Van Halen and also his work with the Doobie Brothers. He was revered as one of the greatest engineers in town. And so we were looking for a little bit more edge and someone we hadn't worked with. And I called him, and he was working with Van Halen, and then a week before we were supposed to go in the studio, he called me and said he was hung up with Van Halen. He could not do this. So the week before we were supposed to cut our first tracks. So I came out here in the breezeway and outside, and Al Schmidt was shooting baskets. And I just said, Al, what are you doing next week? And he says, well, I'm not doing anything. Why? I said, well, you're working with us next week. Okay? And it was that simple. Al Schmidt became our engineer. Not that we wouldn't have gotten hired him anyway, but it was just a chain of events that happened.
We all already knew Al.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
We already.
What was he working on out here? Are you just hanging out?
He was just hanging out, waiting for the artists to get back from lunch or something like that, you know?
His layups.
Incredible.
Yeah, his layups. Exactly.
As a band, what was the mindset, independently or collectively, of Toto going into Toto IV? You had a big budget. You had something to prove.
We did, because the albums following the first album, which went double platinum, one sold Hydra, ended up actually selling 900,000 copies. And I think it went gold, actually. But that took a lot of time for that. And then the album after that, because we were gearing up for live shows, and we were interested in making music on our records that would reflect live, heavy-duty rock and roll performances. So that's when Turn Back came about, and everybody was we were jamming in rehearsal halls. When the Toto IV thing happened, the record company came to us and said, listen, you guys had a couple of hits on the first album, but we haven't got anything from you since then, and we're going to give you one more chance to do one more album, and we'll see how that goes. It was make or break.
Wow.
You know?
Holy cow.
So I went home and started writing the song Rosanna, because I wanted to put every piece of information I knew from Quincy Jones, George Martin, anybody I'd worked with, I wanted to get it into one song. So I ended up writing that song, and we cut that right here with the piano here. I remember the change we'd made on the bass sound was we'd work with Chris Squire from Yes, and he was using a Marshall on his bass. So we turned Hungate onto that. And then what happened with Rosanna was Hungate started playing through a Marshall on that.
No kidding.
Yeah, with his pick. Because you could hear that pick sound, you know?
Another gigantic figure here, Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
Van Halen altogether. Do you remember seeing them around in
sure
studio?
do.
I do. I remember we had a very early version of the LM1 drum machine, and Ed had caught wind of it. Ed was in one of the other rooms.
Yeah.
And he came in sniffing around one. That was one of the first times I think I met him.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
What was he like?
Great. They
Fun?
were always,
22 years
those
old?
guys. I wound up helping them out with some synth stuff later on down the line, especially live and everything. And Alex and I did a stare.
Luke really befriended Eddie. You know what I mean? They became very, very close and stuff, because they were both
mutual
cut from the
admiration.
same cloth, you know. And
they were buds. They hung.
Yeah.